Kia ora, Matapelo here with your latest severe weather information. Well, it's been a very active start to the week and there's a lot of information to take in, but the main things to keep in mind for today is that the most active of that weather has now shifted slightly northwards, and the wettest of that weather is mostly in the eastern parts of the South Island. So let's have a closer look at what we have seen today. We've seen rain, we've seen snow, even some thunderstorms out there in that northern area, as well as wind, especially out in the western parts of the South Island. So let's have a look at what is causing this. We've still got this large area of low pressure with some fronts and weather features spinning around it, and a general onshore flow bringing a lot of moisture in these eastern parts, and of course on the other side of those mountains some strong winds flowing down that side, and the strongest of those winds are expected in those valley areas down the western parts of the South Island. So all of that has culminated in a raft of watches and warnings. And we can see here that yesterday we had some snow and rain watches and warnings down south. Those have now lifted. We are now looking at the central parts of the South Island for that snow, the eastern parts of the South Island for the rain, and the western parts of the South Island for that wind. Up here in the North Island, those watches are now on their way out. In addition, we've also got some road snowfall warnings in place. Some of those are also about to expire, especially down here in the far south, but some of those up here in the north are still expected for the rest of today and the bulk of Wednesday. So more details about those are available on metservice.com. For now, let's take a closer look at those snow warnings. Those heavy snow warnings are still in place. So that is for the Mackenzie country as well as North Canterbury. The heaviest of that snow is expected above 400 or 500 meters, but we are still expecting some snowfall lower than that, maybe to about 300 meters in places. Then regarding the rain, it is mostly in these eastern parts down here in Otago. That has only got a couple of hours more to go for that heaviest rain. But over here in the Canterbury region is where we're now shifting our focus, especially below that snow line. In the elevated places is where we're expecting snow, where that air is colder. But down farther to the coast, we're expecting some heavy rainfall. This one down here south of Christchurch, but including Banks Peninsula, goes until about 6 p.m. tonight. But farther north in North Canterbury and even along the Kaikoura coast, that could continue and be a little bit more long-lasting into Wednesday as well. Then hopping over to the other side of the Southern Alps, we're expecting those strong winds that we saw earlier on. Easterly, southeasterly winds pushing through those narrow valleys. The strongest of those winds are expected in localized areas, so it won't be a very widespread event, but we could see wind gusts reaching about 120 to 130 kilometers per hour in those isolated spots. So if you are going to be out there, do definitely keep that in mind. Then heading up towards the North Island, as I mentioned, these rain watches are on their way out. Just a few more hours on those. So if you are in those areas, do definitely keep an eye on the rain radar to see the movement of that rain for the rest of today. That's a lot of information, but more details are available on metservice.com. Ma te wa.